There's stories all over the internet about farmers going bankrupt across the country. And I want you to know, I want to feel sorry for you. I'm struggling. I'm struggling to care at all. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because typically I have empathy, but I'm really, really tired of telling you farmers and you people that are in rural parts of the United States, I'm tired of telling you what your vote does to you. Yeah, I mean, you guys in the red states, you keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you're broke. You don't have any money. West Virginia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, you get my point. You're broke. And yet you keep voting for the Republican Party that wants nothing to do with you. And farmers, guess what? You're included. But you keep voting red, and now you want me to feel sorry for you. I'm sorry. I just can't.
People effed around, and now they're finding out. And no group of people is going to find out more quickly than farmers, because they're really going to get screwed. With the cutting of this USAID program, they're really going to get hit hard, because what was that program, or is that program, that is not being operated as it's supposed to be because of Donald Trump giving complete control of the federal government to the billionaire who bought him, Elon Musk. Anyways, what was the purpose of that? The purpose was to provide humanitarian relief around the world. And a big part of that was providing food to desperate people around the world. And what we did through that program is purchase a lot of agricultural products produced by American farmers and then distribute those products around the world. Now that money is being withheld illegally, but it's being withheld, and farmers are not getting paid, and their products, their agricultural products, are no longer being purchased by the federal government. I saw a guy, you've probably seen this, it's gone viral, some MAGA farmer complaining about how all these contracts he had to sell hundreds of thousands of dollars of agricultural products to the federal government, that's all being cut now. And he's out hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he specifically starts the video by saying he voted for Donald Trump. And he doesn't take that back, by the way. Apparently, he's still a Trump supporter. And then he goes on to explain how all of these contracts, all this money he was getting, was through the Inflation Reduction Act passed by Joe Biden. And so he's benefiting greatly from Joe Biden's policies. So what does he do? He votes for Donald Trump. Donald Trump promptly kills all of that. He's out hundreds of thousands of dollars, yet he can't bring himself to say that he made a mistake in voting for Donald Trump. The man is losing hundreds of thousands of dollars, and he still can't admit that he made a mistake. These friggin' MAGAs, I'm sorry, I'm going to enjoy people like this guy losing everything. There's consequences for stupidity, and they're going to learn that.
So while most of you are watching headlines about Epstein, aliens, celebrities, here's what's actually collapsing in the world this week. And of course, why is no one talking about it? There are people in our country filming their land. Sounds of boiling and bubbling coming from beneath the surface. You can hear things rushing. Their land is cracking open. Farmers over in Europe are protesting again. France, Poland, Spain. Food production's in revolt. BRICS is rolling out gold-backed currency quietly in Africa. They're prepping to end the US dollar. The U.S. housing market is in a deadlock, true deadlock. Sellers aren't selling, buyers can't buy, and the system is frozen. Over 1 million homes were pulled from the market in the last 90 days. I think it's a sign. Hurricane season in the Gulf just got supercharged. watch out for this fall. Hurricane season is going to be lit. The waters are the hottest in recorded history, so there's going to be more energy events coming. Water right conflicts in Arizona and California are intensifying massively, and no one is ready for that. Meanwhile, the headlines are distractions, celebrity drama, fake alien hype, fear bait. Let's talk about Epstein. Oh no, we had a client list, but just kidding. Why are you guys talking about him still? Like, seriously, why are we still talking about Epstein? But the real collapse, it's economic, agricultural, and elemental. And it's already in motion. You weren't meant to be afraid, but you were meant to be ready. If you have any other questions, you can DM me personally. I'm helping prep people. And not in this like prepper guide. It's more where you're supposed to be, what your frequency is saying, and where the safe zones are going to be in our country. Reach out.
55%. That's the rate that American farmers have been declaring bankruptcy over and above last year. 55% more bankruptcies of American farmers. And it's the conditions, the economic conditions that are contributing to it. A lack of a workforce, a lack of labor, tariffs, I mean, the whole 9 yards. You know, everything this administration has done is contributing to these people losing everything. They're losing the farm, right? So why is this important? Why should you care? Well, what happens when a family declares bankruptcy is that their property is sold in a sheriff's auction to satisfy creditors. So they lose their property. It's fire sailed. And, you know, if they've got a $1 million loan on the 1,000 acres they got, and they get $500,000 for the property, well, they're on the hook for another $500,000. We're talking about generations that have farmed land, that have been farmers their entire lives, losing everything because they can't sell a product overseas. I mean, most of our corn and grain is sold to other countries, and the tariffs are making it more expensive than other options. So they can't sell what they've farmed for decades or centuries. So what's the end run here? Why is this happening? Well, my speculation is that there's large, massive farming operations out there, very large corporations that have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of acres. For example, the King Ranch. And 25 years ago, they had 1 million acres and several 100,000 head of cattle. And they're looking to expand. So how do you expand cheaply? Well, what you do is you get somebody to pass legislation that's going to make family farms file bankruptcy. And then instead of giving them fair market value for it, you can just buy the land in foreclosure. So, well, out of bankruptcy. So that's the end run here. That's what all these policies are doing, is simply gutting family farmers to allow corporations to get farmland cheaply. It's a shame. It's sad. It's shameful. But that's what this administration is going for, you know. Line the pockets of the big corporations, the big farmers, and shaft us.
Well, look like farmers are running out of cash, y'all. Under the crisis brought on by Trump. You know, some small farmers, they're on the brink of bankruptcy. Can't afford to run their farms. Well, they ain't got to worry, because J.D. Vance is there. You got to buy up that fucking land. That's what they wanted from the beginning. That's my opinion. They want to boot some of the farmers out so they can buy that land. They wanted their land. It's a goddamn shame that the farmers didn't see it coming. Goddamn shame. Yeah, they didn't see it coming. If they had this, did a little more research, especially on J.D. Vance. He want that goddamn land. He want their land. That's my opinion. But if they had took the time and did some research, I think they wouldn't have voted Trump. But that's my opinion. Oh, well. They lose the land, they lose their land.
Yo, please share this out. Donald Trump, I need your help, man. I am a very loyal supporter. See, I wear the Trump hat, red hat. They don't like the red hat, Mr. Trump. You tell me when you told us when you got in office you're going to do stuff, bring gas down, do this. Trump, you went around and got all the workers. You're just supposed to go after the bad hombres, the bad Mexicans, but you're getting the field workers, and now I have to work. I have to work, Trump. I'm too old. I am too old to be working in the field. I am too old. I am too old to be working in the field. Promises made, promises not kept. Gas, look at gas. It won't go down. $2 and almost 78 cents a gallon, Trump. You hurt me to make me sweat. Help us, Mr. Trump, help us.
The USDA has quietly ended a program that helped minority farmers, Black, Hispanic, and other minorities, to receive basic help in selling their crops, help in obtaining grants, help in obtaining loans, help in obtaining basic services that historically had been denied to them by the majority white farmer groups around the country. And the USDA is ending this because they say it's no longer needed, that they have taken the steps that they need to take to make sure that these groups are no longer discriminated against. But the problem is, they showed no proof. And if you ask any person of color in this country, they're still actively discriminated against. In traditionally white fields, like farming, Black farmers are still routinely pushed to the back of the waiting list. Black farmers are still routinely denied loans for equipment, for seed. They're routinely denied financing opportunities and grants. So the USDA has provided zero proof that they've ended this when all of the proof that exists shows that all of this discrimination is still going on. And this is supposedly part of Trump's anti-DEI push, but really it's another step by the Trump administration to hold down people of color just because they're not white men. U.S. farmers are starting to regret their vote for Trump. From beekeepers to soybean to hay producers, all of them are starting to say, I never thought that voting for Trump 3 times would result in me losing tens of thousands of dollars. A beekeeper out of North Carolina says, yeah, I proudly voted for Trump all 3 times. I flew flags for him and put signs for him in the yard. But now I'm out tens of thousands of dollars due to lost federal funding and tariffs, so I cannot export my products, my honey and my wax, to other countries like I could before, and nobody's buying it in the United States. Hay producers in Idaho and Utah that export alfalfa hay to China are now seeing 135% tariffs put on their product, and all of a sudden, they don't have anywhere to ship it. They held it all winter in hopes of sending it off to China in the spring, and now China's not willing to buy. Soybean producers are once again being hit harder than they were in the first Trump administration, and China, for its part, has diversified where it pulls these products from, with Brazil becoming the #1 soybean exporter and other countries picking up the slack for honey, for beeswax, and for hay around the world. Now, China's doing a great job diversifying, and the United States has relied on exports to China for so long that its farmers are going to just continue to suffer. Once again, the majority of them voted for Trump, and now they're finding out.
Welcome back. In this video, we took a look at MAGA farmers in rural areas who weep because things have become difficult for them, because mass deportation has really affected their farms. Now, up until the 2024 presidential elections, Donald Trump's message was very clear to the people of the United States of America. Paramount among his policies was mass deportation, and a lot of people bought into the idea of mass deportation. I can say that mass deportation was the most marketed policy that the Donald Trump administration campaign team brought forth, and a lot of people bought into this idea. Quite ironically, are the farmers, and in this case farmers in rural areas, who also bought into this campaign message that Donald Trump will be deporting a lot of people in huge numbers. Farmers in rural areas depend on immigrants, undocumented immigrants for that matter, to work on their farms in order to pick their crops, sow all the seeds, and do all the farming activities. And they are being paid a low wage salary to do all this work that they do on the farm for something that is very low. And so when Donald Trump brought up this mass deportation policy, I least expected a group like the farmers to rally behind Donald Trump in order for him to implement this policy, because you are using undocumented immigrants to work your farm, and you go and vote for a policy that seeks to deport all these undocumented immigrants. So after they have been deported, who else do you expect to come on your farm and work over there for you? I don't know who they were expecting to come on their farms and work for them. So in the end, all these undocumented immigrants were deported. Some who were also not deported have also run, and they are in hiding. They are not coming out to work on these farms. Probably they may be hiding in their various homes, and a few too have also gone back to their various country of origin. And this has taken a heavy toll on farmers, and particularly farmers in rural areas, because their crops are ripe and there are no workers over there to pick up their crops, the fruits and the vegetables. So they are all rotten on the farms. A few that has also been harvested are also going bad because of Donald Trump's tariffs on goods leaving the United States to other countries, and then goods coming in from other countries to the United States. So farmers in the United States are finding it difficult to sell their goods to consumers outside the United States. So majority of these produce are also going bad. They are just sitting down there in sacks and silos, and they are not being able to go out there for the farmers to get any income from their produce. And this is a very tough situation. First of all, they are not able to harvest their crops because workers who are undocumented have been deported. A few of the crops that have been also harvested are not being able to get to the consumer because of the tariffs by this administration. And this has become very difficult for some rural MAGA farmers who are in rural areas, and they are weeping out heavily because they have been heavily affected by this mass deportation policy. And particularly for me, I do not feel that pity for them, because it is the same thing that you voted for that you have gotten. Donald Trump never hid any of these policies. He didn't hide any of these policies from the citizens in the United States of America. He was upfront with his decision. He says mass deportation. He did not even say just deportation, but he qualified it with the word mass for you to know that it will be in huge numbers. So if you are using undocumented immigrants on your farm, why should you go and then vote for such a person to become president and then implement the policy, which in the long run you know it will affect you? So you voted in order to, I don't know, punish your own self. You literally shot yourself in the foot. Let me know what you think about all these in the comment section below, and don't forget to share this video with your friends and your family on other social media platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and other social media platforms. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Just click the subscribe button down here. Click on the subscribe button. Click also on the notification bell, and I would like to see you again in my next video.